sorry.
Right, on.
It's on.
I'm gonna move this back when you just choose whoever. Cool. Oh, the 4K LCD monitor versus the iCup? Yeah. Or
I was sad
you-
because I thought
you thought you didn't have a LCD
I
monitor.
was like looking at I got the PDF.
Cool, cool.
Thank you.
And your LCD has bragging rights because it says 4K on the back. So everybody's like, ooh. You know. All right, let's do this. We'll start with something that we didn't do on Monday. We'll do focus. Okay, so we looked at other things. We looked at brightness mainly, and we'll get to that. But we'll start with focus. So the way before we touch the buttons and stuff like that, Javier, listen up just for a sec. So for camcorders and for video production, a good way to focus. There's many different ways to focus, or having tools to focus. You know, like a really cool tool that's come out, I don't know, maybe 10 years or something ago, is to have a color overlay inside your display. You can get this on the smartphones too. And then when you are in focus, you see really strong, like blue or pink on the edges of somebody's who's in focus. And it turns a different color if it's not in focus or it's not so strong. You know, you can clearly see, oh, that must be in focus. So that's called like false color to do focus. But the way we're doing focus is the way it's been done for like 3 or 4 or 5 decades, since the 60s or whatever, you know, which is very simple. You just zoom in all the way with your zoom rocker on some detail, and then you use that to do manual focus. Okay, so it's going to need a few things before you do it. First of all, you have to be in manual, not autofocus. So to look at that, go to the side of your camera up here, and you should have this whole area that's around focus. So here on the side, and there on the side.
Yeah,
and there's like
it.
A for auto, M for manual, and then there's something like a infinity focus, like that little 8 sideways lane 8. So we want it actually on manual. Well, on manual, and then we're going to turn to something. You can choose anything like a piece of tape or maybe for that alarm or something, and you're going to zoom all the way into that, and hopefully that will be out of focus. If it's not out of focus, you can make it out of focus by using one of these 2 rings.
Works.
By using one of these two rings, the focus ring, if you're in manual. And then if you look again at those buttons, and I'll let you experiment with it, and I'll shut up and I'll come around and help, okay? But like if you look at these buttons, you have automatic, manual, infinity focus, and then underneath those you have a button called push auto. So if you hold this button just for the time that your finger is on the button, it will make autofocus. So you can grab focus quickly, then you can let it go, you're back in manual, then you can zoom out. So anything on your whole, like if you focus in on this little red dot here, from over here, Javier, or whatever, and you get this tight focus, everything along this plane is going to be in focus in the future. So terrain or this will all be in focus. So choose a point that you can zoom all the way in. If you have an interviewee, it's usually the eyes, maybe a nose. Nose hair is always good. Nose hair is good. You can dial it in. You know? Yeah, let's see now. Hey, give me ear hair too. Ear hair is good.
And then this
and so if you could also go around and see if people can find manual focus, zoom all the way out.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So you can also spin this thing to kind of play around with that too.
Yes, but, exactly. So because we're in manual, you can do it.
Yeah.
Right. And so so then you can go out of focus totally, and then hit push auto.
Yes. Yep. Nice.
Cool. And now you're back in manual, and like you were doing the zoom from here.
Yes.
Cool. Try the zoom here.
Okay. Well, that's a faster zoom almost.
Faster zoom or slower zoom. It's a lot more control on this like professional. Like this one's good, but this one's really good. Like as far as the zoom rocker goes, because if you just hold it a little bit, it goes slow, and it keeps continuous speed. So if you're like, and that's when he saw the money on the table. Slow zoom in, whatever, you know, like, dramatic TV. Cool, and you can grab this one here, is it not, okay, I see, you're doing the zoom in. Okay, cool. Push all the way in, as far as you can go on anything there on that speaker, that's great.
I think it's like one
Okay,
or the
cool,
other.
throw it out of
okay,
focus,
got it.
Maybe.
you
I
can
don't know
adjust
exactly, but I think that
the
feels right to
focus
me.
real, okay, so here, let me do it, let me check with you, I think it's this way, I wanna get around the side of the camera, so hang on. Wait, I want you to look with me, so, I think you got it all fine. Okay, so here, this is what I wanna make sure, this is on manual, it looks like it might be on auto. Okay, oh, it looks like it's on manual, this is auto, and one down from that is manual. So you had, that was perfect, cool. So if it's on that, let's look at this together. You can't see anything there, you gotta move back a little step. Okay, cool. What I'm trying to, okay, cool. All right, so here, I'll throw it out of focus. It's really, I don't know why it's so dark. Okay, there's a little brighter. Can you see everything? Yeah. Okay. I'm having a little bit of issue, but like if so we should be able to use this. Oh, I see what it is. Focus. Okay, so this front ring now is controlling the focus. Right? So I can do it with my hand. And you can kind of guess, like, okay, this should be focused, and your eye is going to be pretty good. But you can also use this button. So see where it is to push auto, and then check it with your eye. You hold it until it finds focus. Yeah, cool. And then you take your finger off, and you're back in manual. So it won't change when I do stuff in front of the lens. It won't try to focus on my hand. It'll keep that focus there. You know, so that's cool. So we're learning focus on these cameras, but that focus is what you can do with any camera to keep anything along its plane of focus in focus. This is, so to speak, infinity focus. Because you're zooming in as far as you can, grabbing focus, and then everything back there is also in focus. So this is kind of like TV shooting, video shooting. You're not trying to get shallow depth of field with main actor and things out of focus. You're trying to have deep focus. Everything is always in focus. This is TV, news, things like that. And so it's not the only way to kind of focus, but that's how you do it. You can also think about this. It's always like a question of like, what's the best tool for the job? You know, if you have a very small screwdriver for a big screw, it's not the good tool for a job, right? You need a bigger screwdriver or something. So for these, you should be thinking, for these camcorders and DSLRs and stuff, you should think like, what am I shooting? What's the light like? You know, what's the sound like? What do I have to record? Is it a band? Is it an interview? Is it, you know, a thing around the city or something like that? So these are really good. They're exceptionally good for run and gun because you have good audio on board. They have stabilization inside that's okay. They do automatic white balance. They do automatic, you know, their audio is just like, you know, really good right out of the box. So you can handhold these, you can put these on a tripod, etc. So that's what these are good for. On the bottom left side, you should see a big switch that says auto or manual. I think it's here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like that's something I want you to kind of keep in the back of your head and think about, like, when would I shoot automatic? Where the camera takes over most everything, and where would I shoot manual? What's your ideas right now? Like, when would you shoot manual? When would you control this focus like we just did, manually, maybe with push auto? When would you do that versus going to A, automatic, everything's in focus?
I will use automatic for like something very simple, like not people that is moving a lot, just like sitting down, like interview, or like just two people like talking and looking at the camera.
Perfect.
And the other way, I will use it when you try to get a lot of things at the same time, moves and like close up.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So I just want you to kind of have that in your head as a concept that if you have something where there's not a lot of motion, you're sitting down doing an interview, that's when you want to grab focus, also do exposure manual, because it won't change. If I set up focus to automatic, anything that comes in front of the lens, like me right now in front of her lens, is going to make the focus go and adjust, you know? So I don't want that to happen with the interview. I don't want any kind of out of focus, in focus, out of focus, in focus kind of BS. I just want just the interview, you know? And then like you said, if you're moving around, maybe like around the mission and you're shooting various things, it might be a good thing to keep on automatic, or going around conferences or something, like a big video conference, you're looking at different gear. They have TVs here, they have cameras here, they have, I don't know, TVs on roller skates over. You can, you know, put it on automatic to shoot things, ask people questions, don't worry about the settings. Everything's moving so fast, changing colors, lights, etc. Cool. So we did manual focus. You guys know that there's autofocus there. Then we're going to turn over to some of the other things. So brightness and white balance is kind of what we want to look at. Then we have a lot, actually. So brightness is, let me go back to that here.
Oh, sorry, I moved it.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Very focused, but yeah.
No worries at all, seriously. Let's see. And then we'll go to audio, but let's go to, I think this is, okay, so we'll first start with the zebra. Does anybody know what the zebra is? I posted this on Monday, and what's the zebra, Javier?
To control the exposure of the lights.
It,
No, if an object is overexposed,
Yeah.
it can cause.
perfect. Terrain, what did you say?
I can remember.
Okay, listen up, all right, don't get too distracted from this, let's go one by one. So, the zebra, that zebra in the middle there, are those dashed lines that you can see up there, right? And they warn you, like Javier said, for areas that are too hot,
Yep.
overexposed. And what that means is, think
Too
of,
much light.
yeah, think of this, like you have brightness in a video image, in a video frame, that goes from 0, absolute black, to 100. 100%, absolute white, but still visible. So maybe like this white sheet of paper on the wall here, or the white sheet of paper on that glass there. You know, these things are going to show up like really bright on a video image. And the brightest it can go is 100%. There's more brightness in the world than the video camera can capture. If there's a light shining on those white things or this white board, it might go 110%, 115, 120. It overwhelms the video system. So it's overexposed. What happens then is that anything on this white sheet or whatever becomes just one big blob of white. No texture, nothing else. It just becomes one big, like, painted over with white. So that's overexposed. And with the zebras, you can turn that on and warn yourself in 2 stages. You get one, you can set them individually, but basically you can set at 80% or 100%. So 100%, it means it's really overexposing right away. Like everything you see a line on, like this, that is toast. It's basically you lost the information. You have no more texture on there. So if you set the alarm system a little bit lower at 90, then you're like, oh, I'm coming up to overexposed, but I'm not yet overexposed. So you can do that as well. So to do that, hit the button that says zebra.
Yes.
And point to something that is really bright, and then we'll adjust from there. I think yours is, oh, you have it there? Cool.
Yeah.
So you can shoot directly into the lights and see if you can get like a zebra pattern, and then we'll adjust the aperture
Yep.
to counterbalance that. Is it working?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right, so yeah, cool, excellent.
That's at
So-
80% zebra.
That's at 80, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then hit the zebra button again to get to 100%.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and then excellent. And then we'll hit it again to get to something called marker. And honestly, I don't know how to use the marker system.
Marker on.
Exactly, and then hit it one more time. It should say zebra off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one more time, we'll go back to zebra at 80. So do me a favor, go to zebra at 100.
I'm at 90.
You're at 90?
Okay.
You must be custom set to be 90, which is.
Now it's 100.
Cool. Okay, cool. And you have a cool balance in there that gives you the horizon line. something that one can turn on or off, and it looks like we're a little off, it doesn't matter
We
right
just
now,
leave
no,
it
but it will turn
Yeah,
green
for
when
now, I
it's
guess it's
perfectly
Okay.
level. So that's kind of a cool help as well. So if we're shooting up there and we have lines, now we can adjust iris, okay? And iris is part of the, basically the lens where the light crashes through. And if the aperture is open all the way, that's the hole, if the hole is open all the way, the most light comes through. That's the lower numbers. Like f-stop 2, 2.2, 2.4. That's when the aperture is open really wide. When the aperture is almost closed, just a pinhole or something, then you have f11, f13, f20, f22. It's some square inverse law.
Those are the f-stops?
Yeah, so those are the f-stops. So that's for the director of photography, the most important measurement of all is f-stops, is how much brightness is coming into the camera. You should see that like somewhere down here. It should tell you the f-stop. You seen that at all?
F4, I think.
Not the 5.6.
No, that's the
FFP.
5.6 is the outdoor white balance. Okay, let's see if we hit OIS. It's only showing us some things on here. I wish I remembered how to get that. Oh, here. Okay, I found it. So there's a display. Okay. So this is actually the aperture right there.
Oh, all the way.
Yes. So if I go like this, there's my f-stop. Cool. And what I'm adjusting right here is this ring. And I do have manual iris or aperture right here. So you just play around with that for a second, and then we'll come and adjust it. Okay, those are you can keep those at, that's fine, at spark. Yeah, that's fine. Then these are these that you were adjusting just now? Okay, cool. And let me see, what's the brightest? For some reason this is so dark, I don't get it quite. Oh, no, that's off. And gain, low. Okay, so,
It's very,
okay, there we go. All right, I found the button for displaying more information. It's down here. Now it will show you open, and it will show you the f-stops. Okay, so right now, this opening is all the way open, it's about 2 or 2.2 or something like that. If I just, it goes to f-stop 3.4, 4,
That's also overexposed.
4.8, 5.6 and stuff like that. So let me see if so this is where I see it. Go point at a light again.
Oh, wow. Cool.
You can zoom out to see where you are. It's hard.
Is that F6?
So what's the idea of
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right.
I guess it's not really an ideal.
Cool.
It's more
So
like
now the aperture is
whatever
all the way
shows
open,
best.
right? We're in, I believe we're still in,
But the f-stop is also.
Auto
we might
iris.
be in,
Depth of field, which
I'm
we'll
not
probably
sure
talk
if we're in
about
here.
later,
We're
but
in
it's
manual
really,
focus again.
like,
All right.
triangles,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like
and I see the zebra going on that light.
shutter speed,
And so what I'm gonna do is,
ISO,
come here so you can
they all
see it.
affect, like,
I'm gonna adjust the aperture with this wheel.
and so that's like
And it will only work if I'm in manual iris mode, or you can go ahead and do it, yeah.
That's like, if we're just talking about where you have something in focus in the front and out of focus in the back.
Cool,
or vice
there you are,
versa, or
closing-
everything's in focus,
closing it down.
field.
Cool, and just try to do it so you reduce the, go in the directions of closing it, like making the numbers get bigger, that means the aperture closes more, see if you can get rid of those. Yep, see how they got rid of the zebra stop?
So right now.
The zebra's
it's
going on
focused, so
still
you
here,
would
but it
adjust-
stopped there. Now open it up again to see if you can
so
see
you
the
wanna-
zebras come back, that warning come back, see?
at least you get a little
So
bit-
those areas right here are overexposed.
so yeah,
those are
it's
too,
over-
but those are.
I mean, it's-
What
it's
is
not
your
like it's
zebra
really bright.
On, is it
It's
100%
not there,
or?
okay, it's gone, but it's
Cool,
closed.
okay,
Yeah,
cool,
so
cool,
it's like
cool.
those
Does
things
that
are
make
really-
sense to you, that you have this warning system about overexposure?
Overexposed.
And then that's the way to,
Um,
kind of counterbalance it if you're doing it
There's also
manually.
ND filter.
You can also click on that button next to the iris wheel
Help with that as well.
called iris, and you can do this too, Javier. Right next to the iris wheel, there's a little button called iris. And toggle between auto iris and manual iris. So you're handing it over to the computer to deal with brightness.
I don't see the, I see the iris button, but I don't see how to do it, like,
Oh, yeah, just that. You just press
press
it.
it,
Yep.
and what is
Nice.
it supposed to show if you have it?
Is it, what's it showing? Nothing?
There it says open, and then see it's switching between open and 1.9.
Open,
Oh,
oh, yeah.
yeah. Okay, so open is what the computer did,
Mhm.
and then 1.9 is what I am doing, right? And then, what do I
So
set?
this is iris.
Okay.
Yeah, that
cool.
one, not that, this
Oh,
one.
cool, thank you guys.
Awesome.
It's a little, yeah, it's a little.
Why is it?
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Why is it?
Oh, so maybe that's the auto one. Because the other one,
Right
you press,
again?
now if you adjust it, I think it moves. Yeah, 'cause that one is.
Oh, okay.
But it feels so bad. Feels like it's going against the servo or something like that, but you might be right. Yeah, that's doing it automatic
Yeah.
when it says standard or STD or whatever. So if I take that off, it still doesn't sound very good.
It's not supposed to sound like that?
I've never heard it sound like that before.
It's
But it
supposed
is
to all be
manual now.
smooth?
Yeah, pretty much. So I'll check against the other camera.
Is it, she was asking about the zebra, and I was wondering too, like, so if we were shooting at those lights, and it was like overexposed.
Everywhere?
Yeah, until you close the aperture basically, so like, is there any way around that? I mean, other than, I guess like the ND,
Yes,
okay, cool.
exactly.
Alright, that's what I
Exactly.
was wondering, okay.
Exactly, because ultimately, and this is a preview, we haven't talked about this, maybe you know this or whatever, but ultimately, like, the coolest way to get like really smooth, cinematic looking shallow depth of field, meaning your actor is in focus and the background is out of focus, is to be able to open your aperture all the way. So your iris / aperture is open at 2.0 or 2.4 or whatever. Sometimes if you're outside, it's way too dark to do that, way too bright to do that. If you open it all the way, everything is blown out. So that's when you put on like ND or ND filters on it, and then you can bring the overall brightness down, then you can open the aperture all the way. Cool. All right, cool. Then we have zebra and a little bit about aperture. So aperture is one of three things. Aperture is one of three things that together, and I'll just write this down, like, we'll practice this over this semester, and it usually takes a little bit, but I'll just put down aperture, and then I'll put down shutter speed, and then I'll put down ISO, or what's called gain. Those three things all make the image brighter or darker. So you kind of have to work with all three to set them up, you know, so that you have control over the brightness of the image. And that is kind of the most important. What is aperture size measured in? Hmm? We just had it. You guys all looked at it. Iris? What's that measured in? It's not A, it's not B, it's not C, it's not D, it's not E.
F.
F stop. Yeah, cool. Sorry, just putting you on the spot so you'll remember.
No.
So, this is measured in F stops.
Oh.
Okay, so if we have something like this, F2, 2.4, or all along the spectrum, F22, Terrain, where is the aperture more open? The aperture is this thing inside of the lens. It has like these, it's where James Bond walks into the middle of that, you know, that, it's an aperture, you know. So, which one is more, a bigger opening? Is it the F2.4 or is it the F22? Which one's the bigger opening?
The F.24, I mean F.24.
The bigger opening?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So just remember this, the lower the number, the more open the aperture is, the smaller the number. It's almost closed, and then if you go one more stop, it will say closed. Here comes closed, and here all the way here is open. So maybe that's 2.2 or something like that.
Yeah.
On the cool. Shutter speed is measured in something of a second, a tenth of a second. It's a long shutter speed. 25th of a second, 50th of a second, 60th of a second, a thousandth of a second, 10,000ths of a second, or something like that. So the shutter goes doosh, doosh, or really fast in front of the lens, and it changes what is it, like how focus works. But the faster your shutter speed is, the darker your picture becomes. Because if it's going ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk in front of the lens, sorry for my mechanical sound, but you know, if it's going in front of the lenses, the lens ka-chunk, ka-chunk, slow, then it lets lots of light in before it comes again. And if it goes faster, it lets less light in, and then it goes really fast, it stops a lot of light from coming in. So the faster shutter speed will make the image darker. And then this is a setting that you basically have. DSLRs, you have to set an ISO. You have to set a basic sensitivity to light. On video cameras, look on the side, you should see a setting that says gain. And for people coming from the audio world, they immediately think input levels, audio levels, you know, but it's not, it's video gain. It's even measured in dB, which makes it even more confusing. It's measured in signal to noise ratio in dB, but it's talking only about video light, artificial video light added to the picture. So what we want by default is to have a gain of 0 on camcorders, and on DSLRs, this ISO is for DSLRs and micro four thirds. And there we want like an ISO of 100, maybe 200 as like the lowest possible in a sunny day outdoors, because the higher you go with your gain, if you go to +3 or +9, let's say, you can bump the gain up, make the picture brighter. You also bring noise into the picture. So it's like snow in the picture. If you have to do it, if it's a nightclub or something like that, you do it, you know. But if you don't, you want to make sure your gain here is on L for low. And then there's a mid and there's a high. And you can define how much artificial light is it pumping into those pixels, you know, and you want to basically be 0 at L, 3 or 6 at M, and 9 or 12 at high. You know, does that make sense? Cool. So that's gain ISO, 1/3 of the exposure triangle. That's what this is called. And then here aperture we're talking about, and shutter speed we'll kind of leave alone for right now. But you can see on the side, if you look, there's a button like close to where the audio things are that says shutter, and it will go toggle back and forth between automatic shutter. It's doing it for you, or you hit plus minus on, you know, you add shutter speed from 1/10 to 1/20th, 1/50th, you know, something like that. Go through its options. So those three acting together are your exposure triangle. Cool. All right, we'll do one more thing, I think, and then which is a really great exercise, which is to do white balance. So I'll go here with the computer. What we need is some sheets of white paper, so we can do a white balance check. Let me see, is this, yes, so down here it says, it has the directions in here, just so you can look it up also later. I understand it might be kind of hard to see, it's all wavy and stuff like that. But what we're doing is setting the camera up for good colors. So the cameras can get all the colors, but they can't shift like our eye does. Like if we come from the outside and it's bright, we come into the darkness, you know, it takes a second, and then boom, our eyes are, you know, adjusted to this inside light. Also, if we come from like a stage or whatever, there's a big concert, everything is like blue and pink, and everything's going crazy, woohoo! You know, like we come out of that into, I don't know, a cafeteria and it's fluorescent light or whatever. very shortly, very quickly, we adjust and we go, okay, this is now normal. Okay, this is now normal. So the cameras don't adjust. If you go into auto white balance, they do adjust. They go from room to room, they change. But if the same scenario, if you want to do a sit-down interview with a person in a new lighting situation, outdoor, indoor, new room, you should set up manual white balance if everything's going to stay in that setting for a while, like an interview. So to do that, you look on the side to white balance. I think it's different with yours, it's the most complicated.
WB?
Yeah, WB or white balance. Well, let me do these cameras first because they're a little different. And
Oh,
then
okay,
we'll do yours. So let me look over here next to you if you don't mind.
No,
Cool. Yeah, you go to white balance and then you have three options. You have A, B, and PRST. PRST stands for, here you can see it up here, these up here. So we want to be in manual, also just make sure that you're back in manual on the side of the camera so that we're in manual settings. And then we're going to go to either A or B. It doesn't matter which one, because A or B are we're going to save our custom white balance to that letter. We're going to save our custom white balance either to A or to B. And we need a white piece of paper to do it.
I have to use like the back.
That's
of these.
perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of my old
No,
storyboards and
that's
stuff.
perfect.
So.
That's perfect. That would be fantastic. Let's we're gonna do it over here, and if you guys can kind of like come around a little bit and would Torian, would you hold the white balance sheet for Gina's camera?
Oh,
Okay, here, I'll
So hold it, yeah, that way,
Oh.
and that's cool. You zoom in to fill the screen. Gina, fill the screen with cool, and you guys can come also on this side. That's great. And if cool, this is great, perfect, and you can hit your push auto to get focused. Cool, that's pretty good. You can even go in a little bit further, but it generally is center weighted, so even if you don't have the screen entirely filled, but mostly filled, it's probably good enough. Cool, that looks fantastic. So stay where you are, Torian, that you're doing great, and then we'll swap out so that you see it. Okay, so then on the side, so with the white balance sheet as reference to what white is under these lights. That's what he's doing, that's why we're doing this whole thing. You're gonna go to either your A or B setting, it doesn't matter, you choose. Cool, you're on B, is that right, or A?
A.
Cool, you're on A. And then the calibration button is here. You hold this button right here, the one that's kind of hidden. And if you hold that for a second, it should say,
wow, okay, yeah,
did it swap colors and everything?
yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
now it looks better.
Cool. And then you can zoom all the way out. You can take down your white sheet. And then we'll do, then you watch and somebody else will hold, like Gina will
I
hold the,
hold it.
That looks
Cool.
great, much better.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, cool.
It looks like perfect.
So Torian, you can do your camera.
Okay, so
And
now,
Gina will help you because she just walked through it as far as the buttons and stuff. So point at that one. Cool.
Is
so
that
now
good?
that's
So
overexposed.
it's a little overexposed, right?
And
So then maybe you might have to take the f-stop up a little more because your f-stop's like almost all the way open.
Yeah, okay.
would you do that for Javier? And then,
Okay, I guess
good?
that works,
Cool.
yeah.
and then we'll look at yours together.
Okay, cool.
And he's going to be.
Ah, so that's how you calibrate. That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah,
It looks
makes a
better.
difference.
All right. So cool. You have on that, and then let's see if I go out of focus. So that's like a different. Okay, cool. We'll use this one. Did you do it on an A? Is that where you set it on?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went to
No,
B, which is kind of wrong right now, which is good. I want to see. So do focus real fast. Push auto. There you go. That yeah, down below.
Manual.
Down below. That's
You could probably-
that's automatic, but I want to stay in manual. There. That's the
Yeah,
one.
you got the zebra there. So.
You know, and that will grab focus for a second. As soon as you take your finger off, you're back in manual. All right, and now do your calibration, which is
I mean, it's
like here.
It's like a bright light on there,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah, you got
That
it.
should
Finger
be-
over.
not
That,
nothing overexposed.
you leave your fingers off those,
Balanced.
off the iris, but this one right here.
Well, we do that.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
so the
See,
zebra-
active, now it's okay.
the zebra
If you hold it
button
on
is
too
not
long,
like
it goes
this.
to,
Well, no,
yeah.
it's what it
Think
is,
you-
is
yeah,
it's telling
that B
you,
channel, okay.
That's okay.
like,
Yep, now you can
so
zoom out,
when
you
have
can
an
see what your colors
8%,
look like.
that means like this is gonna be
Thank you.
overexposed, it's like a
Cool.
warning. It doesn't
Awesome.
take it away, it just tells you
Awesome,
it's
so
like
now,
warning you, so you
I
to
need
adjust
another
something.
white balance
So to get
model.
rid of that,
Gina, can I ask you to,
Sure.
so then-
model for
and this way you
Johanna?
can talk about
Yeah.
the iris,
Cool.
so you would-
Alright, so yours is
Right.
a little different.
Yeah,
It's
so
more
like those are gonna
in
be
the
like the
software.
things that will affect the brightness of your shot.
So we
we've
see
been
it's
talking about
definitely
iris, that's
kind
why
of
I just
greenish,
did the
right?
I already
f-stop
pressed it,
setting, so you see how it's like going up.
Okay,
I'm
so,
closing
yeah,
the
I think,
iris,
so
less
this
light
goes
is
through
coming in.
different things.
You
So
could
like,
also adjust the
so
ISO
right
of
now,
your shutter speed.
like when it's
I think on here
orange
it's
or
called
red,
gain.
you know, that's like
ISO.
stuff that we can manipulate.
Okay.
Yeah,
See,
see
so
how
it's
it's here, so you
ACH?
have
Uh-huh.
So that means
this thing that
eight
just has
channel.
L, M, and H.
And then the other option is here, if I click it again, it goes to auto tracking white, that's kind of like auto white balance.
Okay.
So I wanna do this
Yeah, so the
manual,
gain's
so,
at 0 right now.
and then I think, where's the
So
button? I think
it's
you
not
have to
right
push
in
this
between
round,
right? So maybe
thing
we'll have
in,
to like adjust the f-stop
and then it goes
less,
black, and then it says white balance set,
like the
okay.
gain all the way
Now
down.
zoom
yes.
out. Okay, so those are the colors that we have now versus the more, a little bit greener or whatever
Yeah,
that we had
okay.
before.
Bring it up a little
Thank
bit
you, Gina.
artificially.
Cool, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, see how it's like, now
Yes,
the
it
zebra
will.
comes in a lot
I
quicker.
don't know how to get out of this all of,
So
so
it's
that
like
it's
you
not
gotta
just
kinda
always
like
active there.
Tweak each one.
Can't
You
remember
press
that.
Work
again?
with the other ones.
Yeah, but then doesn't it throw it out of, oh no,
Yeah,
I
to
think
get it
that's
like,
it, yeah.
yeah, to get
Cool.
it to again. So
Cool,
it's-
cool, excellent.
Okay, so it was here and then you press.
Yes, so I used this to go to where it was lit up.
Mhm.
I think you can choose, yeah, see there's the B channel is there,
Mhm.
and then here are these presets, 3200, 5600, see how it's, wait, let me go back to
We
5600.
use a H, right?
So 5600 is the classic, average for outdoor,
Outdoor.
and 3200 is the classic for indoor.
Indoor.
Right, but we just did a manual white balance, so if I go back to A, it
We
should
did
have
that
that,
one.
yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Okay.
Right on.
Okay, cool.
12:19. All right, we're gonna get out of here in a second. All right, let's do this last thing, you guys. How are you guys holding up? It's too much in physical face-to-face class. It's like, oh my God, it's so stressful. I can't even get my cat on my lap. No. So we'll go for another 10 minutes, then we'll, or another 5 minutes. Maybe, actually, it might be a little bit too long. I was gonna set up the mics. Maybe we can set up the mics really fast, just to see that we get, audio in, and no, we won't do any recording or anything like that. But right now, see, do you have audio levels? Can you check your audio levels and see that you are set to, I'm gonna go around and mess with your audio settings. And Terrain, I mess with your audio settings, I'll mess with,
Yeah.
cool, yours are really nice. Now that I messed up. So, set them for the internal microphone, and see if you
Okay, so
have,
that is, should be
what was that? Cool, and I
internal,
think
yeah, yeah,
you would
cool.
probably have, yeah, you have this here. All right, now everything's messed up, there's no audio.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
I see there's
Johanna, give
phantom
me audio.
power,
Yeah, yeah.
phantom power, different inputs.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
Cool, you have.
when I
the
read
internal
the,
control again?
like the Beam Gear thing,
Yes.
if you only had
Exactly,
one microphone, we
exactly,
use
yeah,
the second
exactly.
input
So
and
this
like have
is
these
like the line
slid
of
down to
perfection
input
right
Both
two.
on two, yeah.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
because then, yeah, then it's all just going to the same one.
So like, that's pretty good, like for me
Yeah.
being close is this.
Yeah, and these
That's
each have like a
pretty good.
line and
Bring
a
it
mic
back on the top a
selector
little bit.
on
Yeah.
the front.
You know, but yes, that's,
Mhm.
that's good, yeah.
Okay, so the internal is the microphone.
Line
here.
level
If we
on
were
my-
using a mic.
We definitely want mic
Cool,
level.
and that's what
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
doing now.
Yeah.
Cool, so use the mic, you're pretty good.
Oh.
Like here, like that's the stereo mic. Okay, cool, so
Oh,
for
yeah.
all, and you had levels as well?
Mm-hmm.
You sent it back to, no, I see I screwed with you, I messed these around, so.
Yeah.
Right now, you don't have any, oh, you do have levels, where are these
Oh,
levels
I
coming
have
from?
one for
Yeah.
microphone.
These are mic power, this is sending power to a mic.
Oh.
So I think it was just messing with the switches that gave you a short, yeah. Push that up to internal, and that to internal, cool. Now, look, now this is the recording source. It's going to channel 1 and channel 2. So the left, wherever the left side is, I guess this side, the left side of this stereo mic is going to channel 1, and the right side of this channel of this mic is going to channel 2.
What is this button for?
Cool. All right. So now this is the last thing. So we're going to set up a mic record where we have a mic out of your bags, an XLR cable. I can't think anymore. The XLR cable goes into input 1. Make sure input 1 is set to mic.
Yes.
And we're going to hear that microphone on channel 1, left side.
Okay.
The right side is going to be set to the microphone that we already just had. So internal microphone, channel 2.
Okay.
Yeah? So you should have a mic, everybody should have a mic and audio, but you might not. Okay, so let's get you one.
Oh, you mean in there?
I don't know if you have your, I don't know if there's one in there. I
So
think
we might have checked out the camera, right? 'Cause I think.
yeah, I don't think we had one at the time that we checked it out. Would,
Had I known, I would have brought my
no worries.
Sennheiser.
Would you get, would you, like, all we need is for 5 minutes, see if we can get, yeah, or just a mic kit on Gina.
Yeah.
Cool.
Speaking of microphones, I found a meme that I thought was very appropriate.
My arms are getting tired, okay, boomer.
Hello. Hi.
Cool.
Yeah, it's working.
Cool, you already got it?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, cool. So make sure that you're
Oh,
seeing
thank
the
you.
audio output of your mic by turning
Yes.
the other channel kind of
I
off.
turned the other
Okay.
off. Yes.
Okay, cool. When you come over and,
Yes.
Okay. Got,
nice, and this is coming into input 1. Hello, how you doing? Okay, this is
Headphones to
great. Now,
check.
do you see where that line is? That's where we want to average around. So this might be a little hot, so turn it down a little bit. Channel 1? Perfect. Okay.
Yes. Perfect. So I'm ready to record and interview someone.
Cool, excellent, that's very good. Cool.
Awesome.
Very cool. All right, cool, and now, so now add the sound of the room
This
Okay.
by
one
putting it to internal.
directly
Cool.
into
So
the,
you
Yes.
have
So we
two
have the
outputs.
microphone and the
to the
room.
camera, no?
Ah, nice. And when you do the recording, make sure you always have headphones, always listen all the time.
Okay.
When you actually do a record and stuff, but right now it's good enough to see the levels, but we can do it.
so we're gonna
Alright.
use these.
I think you need this
This is like
thing,
a,
no, it should be, because this should go directly into the camera.
No, these
So-
are just the
Yeah, there's
microphone.
XLR on this side.
And this is a
over here.
dynamic
So we're
mic,
not
so
gonna
you
use this
don't
one
need
either?
I don't think so.
oh, okay, that's what I
You
thought.
know, so
It's like a snake.
the convention is to go into input 1, so that's good. That will be convention just by normal
Where
rules
there's
of
no
what
output.
everybody does. Input 1 is the left side, stereo.
Okay, let's see.
Well, so you need to put that channel, that's on channel 1, so you need to put that on.
And
Okay,
the
input
computer
1
is-
on, oh shoot.
Input 1 is on channel.
Yes, it's channel 1, so you need to set it to input 1.
Electro voice.
I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Yeah. The whole part.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. Okay, cool. That's pretty good. I think these levels are pretty good.
That's a good way to check it.
Maybe a little
Send
high.
it to where there is
but-
no sound, and then
Yeah, it should be good.
you know, and then you have one source on the left side of audio,
Awesome.
you know, coming in.
Nope.
And then
Maybe I might want to. Whoops. Oh, that is too low.
ambient sound.
Oh, this is better.
Exactly. And then in editing, you have them as separate channels, so if for some reason one's messed up, you
Okay,
can
yeah, this is
separate
better.
away,
Cool.
just delete it or whatever,
Great.
spread channel 1 to both sides,
So
and
you can decide if you want it or
Yeah,
not.
I'm getting
Exactly.
levels
You can try
on
it
on this one,
right
channel
now.
1 over here.
exactly,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
It should be like louder
Right
on
on.
one, yeah,
cool. What did you get?
perfect, and then this one should be on the other
Right
channel.
on, hold on. I'm gonna bring it over.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no I didn't see a output jack like to
Checking
hear,
for you,
like for you to plug headphones in. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now check just here. It's kind
I
of
just
hard to
realized
see,
this
but
was
like
not
when
plugged
you-
in.
when
Yeah, I
you-
saw
Look
your
like an
headphones. I was like, where do you have them plugged in? And I was like,
feel like
oh,
it's-
no.
Yes.
Oh, and then these are the
And
levels,
then
huh?
I thought I had this
let's
plugged in, but
look
I guess
at our
not.
settings here.
So yeah, these are the input
Okay,
levels.
your
Over
input
here,
on
like
channel 1 is.
here, talk. That's on channel 1,
is
right?
getting
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
Talk
from
right now.
input range.
Okay.
Like test. I
Yep.
just wanna like see.
Testing
Yeah,
1,
exactly.
2,
So that's-
3,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
4,
So
5.
this is the
Yeah.
volume
Channel
level.
2
Perfect.
is
Yeah, the
like
gain
an
for the
ambient
microphone.
sound
Yeah.
from
Awesome.
This one.
So right
So
here,
we
in the
can
middle
test
right
it
now.
and just
Cool.
say,
Oh, that's
okay,
all good.
what about if we
Yeah.
turn this off to
I think those are
input
good
2, there is
levels.
nothing in
Sweet.
input 2?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, speak now? Okay, cool. Now you have just one mic, just to test.
See,
You
yeah,
know?
there should be a thing.
And, you know, if you put channel 1 to input 2, there's also no input. You know, it's just a way to kind of check by stepping through everything where everything is. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you. Cool, you guys. All right. So I don't know how much part of this we recorded or what we did with this record, Gina.
Oh, yeah.
It's no worries. Yeah.
Maybe I should just, okay.
Stop the record or whatever.
All right,
Thank you
Susan.
for watching.